Hello, everyone. We are priming up. We will be beginning in just a couple of moments. So hold on tight and we will go. Here we go. And I want to make sure that everyone is able to see the screen that we have up there. So let me put it into my trusty dusty secondary computer here and make sure that we are all viewing the same thing and that everybody can hear me too, because that's generally helpful. So let's see if I can get some feedback. Oh, it might help if I put on the headphones. That's always a good thing. Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. Alrighty. Now that that is doing what it's supposed to do, I am going to go over here and we will begin in just 1 minute. So everybody hold on to your hats. We have a great subgroup planned for tonight, and I think everyone will enjoy. Hello and good evening. It is 8 p.m. Eastern Central Time, and this is Tech Talk with Rex. I am your host, Rex Lang, and this is a subgroup of the Central Indiana Real Estate Investors Association. I am pleased to be with you tonight, ladies and gentlemen, as we present Tech Talk. As we do at the beginning of each subgroup, we want to take a look at what is coming up here. The first thing that you want to be aware of, and let me see if I can get this to come back and stay for long enough, but June 9th, June 9th has already gone past. July 14th, I should say. We got a conflict on dates. We'll make sure they get that fixed. But July 14th, the next SOREA meeting at Indiana Wesleyan, new location. If you haven't been for a couple months, you do not want to go back to the old location. You want to make sure you go to the Indiana Wesleyan University location. There will be an attorney panel on July 14th. And I know if there's any meeting that you want to attend that's going to help save you money and help to get questions answered for you that could change the way that you do business. The attorney panel is one that you do not want to miss. You will have the opportunity to ask your questions of different attorneys that will be on the panel. And like I said, you just can't go wrong with the attorney panel. That is a great meeting to go to. And whether your questions would be landlord based, contract based, buy, sell, anything like that, there are generally attorneys there that will be able to cover all of those subjects and take care of any questions that you have. So the attorney panel coming up on July 14th, and you got to remember, because heck, that's, 2 weeks into the month. I know we're used to the second Tuesday, but sometimes it takes a while when that second Tuesday is, the 14th day of the month. So don't forget about it. Go out and enjoy Independence Day and everything on that holiday weekend that goes along with it. But July 14th, make sure you are at the attorney panel. And if you do have any questions about that, don't hesitate to use this number right over here, 670-8491. That puts you in touch with Debbie. Debbie can get you lined up with anything that you need to know as far as upcoming SOREA events. One thing you do want to make sure of for this month as we've come over here to the calendar, Dave's Dinner and Deals will not be meeting tomorrow night. So do not go and expect Dave's subgroup to be there because it won't be there. So that ends out the subgroups for this month. And what I wanted to do was go into, and this is a little feature if you weren't aware of it, on your calendar. You can just come up here and you want to say, oh, July. Go and take a look into July. And you can start to see what's happening the first couple of weeks. They don't have the whole month laid out yet, but at least you got a little bit of a preview of what's going to go on. The first Thursday of the month will be Women in Real Estate. Of course, you do need to be a woman to go to that subgroup. But Carolyn Hamza leads that group, and she has been doing a wonderful job taking the lead on that group, just getting women together and discussing real estate issues with that. Property management and landlording will be Tuesday the 7th, and then Deal or No Deal, which I know is Jeremy Miller's subgroup, which Jeremy Miller has been a long-time board member for Saria. He runs a brokerage company here in Indianapolis. Very knowledgeable guy, and Jeremy can help you to know if what you are looking at is a deal or not a deal. Just remember, in order to get all the information on these subgroups, when they're going on as far as time-wise, where they're happening at, and to be able to register, you must come up here and you must log in. You can do so here at member area, or if you try to click on one and you want to find out where it's going to be at, it's just going to take you in, and it's going to say, well, right here, members log in. Because as you can see, everything on this site says for members only. So you want to make sure that you log in and that you are able to get the start time, the end time, where it's going to be at, different things like that. So just make sure that you log in, because a lot of people don't know that about when you're on their website. Log in to the calendar and you can get a lot of information there. Other things here on the backside, maybe you haven't noticed this before, we do have a classified section on this back side of the website too. You click here, it will go ahead and take you into where, if you are a member, you can list your properties. Okay, for sale by owner, for rent, rent to own, we buy houses. I haven't taken a look back over here for a while, but here you go. Here is a property in Lebanon that's available, and you can see that when you go in, you can get information on it. And if you click on the link that's on there, gives you a little more information, contact information. You can even get a picture. So you can click on there and you want to take a look. There's a little better picture, almost like flyer size. But again, email, all that. Again, you've got access to information and opportunities to market properties however you'd like to do. You've got your vendor information back here. You can search for your vendors. You've also got PHP information, which I think will start coming back into more of the forefront here. I have a hope for that, at least. Professional housing provider is a designation that you can get at Saria. It is a national designation, and you also get local recognition with it also, because you'll receive your local PHP and the national PHP, because both programs mirror each other. And again, there's some information on it. Talks about your cores, different things that you have to have. You might be surprised at the number of PHP designated investors that we already have in our group. So if you want to know more about that, that's back here, resources about us. Again, there's a lot of information back here on the back side of the website. So don't forget to search that if you're looking for more information about the group, and again, 670-8491. Make sure to call Debbie because she can get you hooked up with anything that you need. So tonight, one of the things that I want to talk about is an application that I had suggested a little while back, and that application is called LastPass. And what LastPass is LastPass is basically a password management application. What it does is you take all of your different accounts and whatnot, and LastPass basically saves those for you so that each time that you go to log in to the account, instead of having to go through and remember and type out passwords into each and every site that you go into, it auto fills it for you and just makes your browsing experience much, much better, because you do not have to go through and take the time to go through, remember each password, type it in. It's basically just a productivity time-saving tool. But also it helps with security, because it does also encrypt a lot of your information and things like that. So again, it's a very good tool. Like all good tools, if you have a good tool and lots of people are doing it, it is also a target. And this week, LastPass was actually hacked. We'll go down here and I'll show you. And this is June 15th, so you can tell this is pretty recent, this information. So I wanted to bring this to you because if you were using this on our recommendation here from Tech Talk, I wanted to make you aware, and you should have received an email if you are a LastPass user that says LastPass was hacked. They don't believe any information was distributed from it, but they do suggest you take some precautions. As it says, we appreciate the patience and the support from our community after yesterday's announcement, because this was announced in the media too, if you didn't hear it there. As expected, we worked tirelessly to make sure your data is safe. That's why we detected, contained, evaluated the scope of the incident, and secured all user accounts. We want to assure our users that our cyber attacker response worked as designed. And they've received a lot of questions. And these might be questions that you may have. So I wanted to take a minute and kind of walk through this. Now, if you do use LastPass, what happens is, in order to log into LastPass to be able to see any of your stuff, you have to have a master password. And they do make sure that your master password is fairly difficult to detect, as far as characters, numbers, uppercase, lowercase, those kind of things. And people have been asking, well, was my master password exposed? No. It says LastPass never had access to your master password. They use an encryption and hashing algorithms of the highest standards to protect user data. We hash both the username and the master password on the user's computer with 5,000 rounds of, and it goes in and starts talking about how they've done that. I couldn't tell you a lot of what they're talking about, but basically what they're saying is what they're doing is they scramble everything and it creates a key, and then they do it again and it creates an authentication hash, and then this is sent to the server so they can perform an authentication check when you're logging in, and they take that value and they use this random string of more information. Basically, it says cracking their algorithm is extremely difficult, even for the strongest of computers. So basically, they don't make it easy to get your master password. And it says, are you at risk? If you had a weak master password, it goes through and tries to say that, if after the user got in, because basically what they're saying is the data breach was, okay, somebody got in, but even after they got in, they'd have to figure out your master password. So if you have something simple, and this is something that attackers generally do, is they try a list of commonly used passwords or dictionary words, such as a string of numbers that are concurrent, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, password 1, Mustang, Robert 42, I love you, anything like that, typical things that could generally be grouped together. And they would have to do it specifically for you. And then they would have to go in and, again, trying to guess that would be very difficult. And even if they did get into that, then they would not be able to get your data because your data vault was not exposed. So basically nothing, what happens is everything that you put into LastPass is put into your data vault. That's all your sites with all your passwords. So they're saying that was not an exposed part of this attack because it says, were passwords or other data stored in my vault exposed? No, your data is safe. Encrypted user vaults were not compromised, so no data stored in your vault is at risk. It says if you used your master password for any other websites, they do advise changing it anywhere that it is. And it says, you should not reuse passwords, especially your master password, because if you use a system like this, your master password should definitely be something that is completely different from anything else that you're using passwords on. So you do want to make sure that that's correct. Now, it talks about what should I do now. And this is one of the things that I started doing, and I would suggest people think about doing, okay? If you have LastPass, change your master password. Definitely do that. No doubt about that. And I even went in and changed passwords on some of my other accounts that were inside of LastPass. Why? Well, even though they tell you that the data was not breached, it's not a bad habit to get into to change your passwords. And I'm gonna take you through and show you some tips on being able to create new passwords that will be helpful for you. But in the grand scheme of things, changing your passwords at a minimum every 6 months is a very good thing to do, just because you don't want them to become so commonplace and so easy that they could be found out. And we're going to go through some tips here on how to do things. And I learned some things from this article too. I was really impressed because I've seen some guys that create passwords that would spin your head. But the tips in this one give you very good, strong passwords that would not be easily broken. Because again, like they said here, a lot of times the hackers, it's like anything. If there's somebody that's coming through looking at houses, what house do they want? They want the house that looks like it's got the lowest hanging fruit, the one with the door open, the one that looks like nobody's home, the one that, easy kind of things. Well, I don't believe, and I can't say because I don't know any hackers personally, but I can't believe that hackers are any different. They want the easier ones. They want the accounts that they can get into fairly easily, because once they're in, then they can dig and continue to go further. So how can we protect ourselves from data thieves? We're going to come over here to Productivity 501. This is a blog, and they had an article called 10 Tips for Creating Secure Passwords. Now, I'm not going to read you this whole article, but it definitely has some good tips in it. Number one, using different character classes. So again, basically they're talking about lowercase, uppercase, numbers, symbols. So if you were trying to create a word like guitar, that's less secure, just being lowercase, than capital GUI, capital TAR. That's much more secure. Or there's one that's GU number 1, T, capital T, the and sign, and then the R. Kind of looks like guitar. I've seen passwords like this created before. Um, and again, a lot of times people will use zeros for O's or threes for E's or different things like that. So again, different character classes help your password be more difficult to crack. Number two, uh, letters from a phrase. And I love this one. This was awesome. The first letter of each word in a phrase, like a line from a song, like there's a hole in the bottom of the sea, could become TAHIBOTS. There's a hole in the bottom of the sea, period. And the period's important because again, there's another symbol, punctuation mark, so to speak, that is on there that makes it more difficult. So again, that is a good tip. Number three, numbers from the word. So you use your phone keypad to convert a word to its numeric equivalent to use as a part of your password. So you know how like it is, they say, call, 1-800 333 gold, and you have to spell out gold. You can do the same thing as far as what your numerical value is and make it the numbers, and then make that just a word that but use the numerical values. Keyboard patterns. Creating terms from rows of adjacent keys. Like you don't want to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because that's not good. But if you did / the bracket on the right, the bracket on the left, PO, combined in the ways specified below, can make for a secured password. So if you look at that, on the top row of letters on your keyboard, that is right at the top, and that is, goes through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right across the top in the top corner. Very odd, not something that people are going to guess, but that's a good thing that you can put in, not as your total password, but as a combination part in your password. This is another good tip. Use more than one word, okay? So let's say, because it's a single word, passwords are easy to break because, again, they put them through dictionaries and they're trying to go for that one word because I think people just, want to run it one word. So a password like shiny nail or flying rock or tall water is more secure than a single word password. So it is a single word, it's so to speak, but it's two words put together. That's always good. Ideas for passwords. Now think about this. Sometimes it's hard to come up with a password because you can't, think that way, but think about this. 2 objects from a picture you'll always remember. For example, drawing your grandparents' house, the illustration from a children's book, a painting at an art museum, or 2 terms from a memorable purchase. For example, blue V6 could be your first car, thin IBM, first computer, gold 3 CRT, engagement ring, 7-foot grand, piano, pine door, first house, sunshore, honeymoon destination, anything like that. Put those 2 together. Look through a catalog and choose terms based on something you see. Sometimes that's an easy thing to do. See 2 things you like and put them together. Look up a random article in Wikipedia and choose a word found or related to a word you find in the article. Again, you're wanting to find combinations that you can put together. So once you do this, now that you've got your 2 words, let's separate these 2 words with symbols or numbers. For example, pine and 1 and door, or kit, exclamation, 2, exclamation, cat. And you can even put commas behind them, however you want. Another thing, just like we were talking about before, modify your password for each site that you have. So let's say you say, oh, but I can't remember different passwords. Okay, well, how about you modify it? So look down here. You've got blue.mv6 for Amazon.com. Blue and V6 from the first car, M from the second letter in the site name. So you've got your blue dot M, because M is the second letter in Amazon, V6. You could have blue dot AV6 for your logon for Amazon. And then if you wanted a different one, thin exclamation 5 exclamation IBM for Amazon, thin and IBM from the first computer, 5 from the number of letters in the site name. I mean, you can do this however you want. There's so many different combinations that you can come up with, and these passwords are so much better than just the average, Amazon 123 that you're going to come up with. Don't do that. Don't do that. All passwords for different types of sites. Again, do not use the same password for all your sites. Do not do it, especially banking or anything that contains crucial information. Do not do that. Again, your banking sites might all use derivations of Blue V6. E-commerce might use derivations of the thin IBM. Just the goal is to make sure that a rogue administrator at a forum you frequent isn't able to get to your sensitive information, to your money, to anything like that. You don't want that. Sometimes you can use a date-based component, or the date-based component, is how often you have to change it. So, like I said, some of them every 180, every 90, every 60. Sometimes you can set it up that it makes you change it every so often. So, again, every time you change it, just make sure that you're creating something different and something new. So, those are the 10 tips for creating secure passwords. And now I'm going on here because I have to change something here in our, whoops, there we go. Oh, okie dokie. Here we go. There we go. You got to see me in my man cave for just a moment. Now, I want you to think back to last month. Last month, we talked a lot about an application called If This, Then That. And if you remember correctly, If This, Then That is an application that basically works off of the commands that you give it. So it tells you, you tell the app, if this occurs, then do this. And we talked last month about all the different things you can do. There, it's pretty much limitless what you can do with it. Excuse me just a minute. We're going to get a drink here. Thank you. Now, but again, we talked last month, if this, then that. And if you have any questions, you can, I can send you the link to last month's episode. But what we did is we went into Craigslist, because we talked last month about Craigslist and how not no one, but the modern internet newspaper is now called Craigslist as far as for a classified section. And if you are looking for a good source of leads, houses to buy, that is a no-cost option, because here on Tech Talk, I am all about the no-cost options. And a lot of these different scrapers and other software that you can get for Craigslist, sometimes Craigslist doesn't like what they're doing, shuts them down, it just makes it more difficult. But the If This Then That app is perfectly fine as as far as Craigslist is concerned. So we set up keyword, and we just did one. We just did motivated seller in the real estate section of Indianapolis. And I want you to take a guess as far as to how many leads that we received from the time we set it up. Because if you look down here at the bottom, it talks about we installed the If This and That app, and we put in motivated seller. And we started on May 20th, and they started coming in the 22nd, 24th. Now, how many do you think we would get just off of that one keyword? And again, I didn't do anything but set up the app and tell it to email me when these leads came in. And again, you can set it up to text you. You can set it up to all sorts of things. Again, you need to watch last month if you didn't get a chance to see that. But again, I went through here, and there are 25 leads that got put into this account between May the 22nd and June 15th. Now, are all these leads great leads? Are they all, homer? I don't know. I have no idea. Could not tell you. But what I will tell you is this. I now have 25 leads that I can go through. And again, as soon as we'll just run through one of the, this is the last one that just came in here. Look, condo, townhouse for sale, motivated seller, 3-bedroom, a 1.5 bath, 1,000 square foot, total downstairs and upstairs. It says no contracts, wants to walk away. So again, maybe that's not the one, but maybe it is. Just depends on what you're looking for. So again, I could email them back if I wanted to. I can go back and look at some of my other ones, whatever you want to do. But again, this saves you having to go through and filter what's going on. It's very simple, very easy thing to do. You can take all these and you could pull them out and pull the information into an Excel file and decide when to call them back. I mean, there's no end to knowing what you could do with this. But the best part of this is I just wanted to show you that this tool that we put up there, it works. If you want leads, and what does everybody want? Well, everyone wants their phone to ring. Everyone wants leads. Okay, well, what about your email box filling up? What about people just, they're advertising in other places, and you can call them and you can watch that. And the interesting part is, okay, now look at this one. I just want you to think about this one for a minute. This one says, no contracts. They just want to walk away because they found a place down south. Okay, well, what if you take this one and just put it in a tickler file and decided 30 days from now you want to call them? You call them up. They said, no, we don't really want to do that. Or you email them. They say, no. Put it in a file, 30 days, follow up. Because I know from some of the best instructors in the business that tell you it's not the first contact when you get the house. It's third, fourth, fifth contact is when you're going to get the deal a lot of times. Not always. Doesn't always work that way. But again, these are free leads coming into your inbox, and all you had to do was set up an application and let it go. That's all it did. That's it. That's all there is to do with it. So, just to recap, you want to make sure, first and foremost, you are keeping your passwords safe. The next thing you want to make sure that you do is, like I said, make sure that you create good, strong passwords. And like I said, if you didn't see last month, get a hold of me. I will get you the information on if this, then that, because there's too much to explain just in one sitting, as far as what it will do for you and the different way that you can continue to use it and just grow and exponentially make your business that much better. So that is about all we have for Tech Talk tonight. A little shorter version, but again, it's getting to be summertime and there's always like 10,000 things to have to do. But again, don't forget the meeting on the 14th, the attorney panel, and the other subgroups that we have coming up in the beginning of next month. Go out and enjoy them. And for all of us here at Severia, wish you happy investing and have a good evening.